Is GM John Spytek a quiet genius, or are we just giving a free pass to a front office that still doesn't know how to build a deep roster to compete in the brutal AFC West? And another thing, is the overhaul on our offensive line and defense finally going to stop being a joke, or are we going to endure yet another season of glaring holes in the roster? Things are officially going down behind the scenes in Vegas, and if you think the offseason is over, you are dead wrong. We've got big names being dumped and low-cost gambles turning into starters. Buckle up, smash that like button, because today was crazy, and we need to talk the raw truth about our franchise. The biggest bombshell of the day isn't who we backed up the Brinks truck for, but the shadow chess moves John Spytek has been making. The front office just confirmed the 5 most underrated moves of this regime, and the immediate impact on our cap space is absolutely insane. Let's get straight to the facts. First, Caleb Rogers. The kid was drafted in the 3rd round and is already taking first-team reps as our absolute starting left guard. If Rogers can hold his own when the pads come on, Spytek found absolute gold in the bargain bin. A starting trench warrior on a rookie deal. This is what separates elite GMs from the amateurs who sink franchises. But things get really serious when we look at the Jakobi Meyers situation. He did his part in the past, but the veteran wanted double the salary, seeking a long-term deal around the $20 million a year mark. What did our GM do? He didn't let emotions dictate the move. He shipped him off to the Jacksonville Jaguars for that astronomical price tag and signed the much younger Jalen Naylor, paying the same peanuts we were giving Myers back in 2023. It was a cold, calculating, and in my opinion, essential move. No more crippling our cap space for a wide receiver too. The guy suffered that devastating injury right in his contract year. Any other cowardly executive would have kicked the player to the curb. But our franchise kept giving him 1-year deals. It's a very low-risk, high-reward move. Plus, it sends a crystal-clear message to the locker room that we don't abandon our own when they go down. On the coaching staff, we held on to Rob Leonard amidst the chaos and mass firings of Pete Carroll's staff, and Clint Kubiak quickly promoted the guy to defensive coordinator. This brings a minimum level of tactical stability to a team that changes its defensive scheme every single season. Finally, the absolute masterpiece, pulling the plug on Christian Wilkins. $100 million thrown in the trash by the old GM. The guy missed 12 games, didn't produce as expected, and still created internal friction with the brass over his recovery timeline. Spytek didn't waste time babying a star. He nipped it in the bud, swallowed the PR hit, and cleansed the toxicity from the building. The wildest part of it all? As of right now, Wilkins hasn't even managed to sign with another team. Nobody in the league wants the headache we just discarded. This definitively proves that the new regime won't tolerate a star complex without production on the field. You either bleed silver and black, or don't let the door hit you on the way out. If you think Spytek'S house cleaning fixed everything, and that these 5 genius moves paved our way to the Super Bowl, wait till you see what's going on with the rest of our roster. The painful truth, my friends, is that the baseline rebuild of the Raiders is just getting started. We inherited a ton of holes, and the front office knows it's going to take a few seasons to fully heal. Let's get real about our pass rush and the edge of our D-line. We have Max Crosby, who is the undeniable soul of the franchise. Malcolm Kuntz himself, plus heavy-hitting veterans who arrived, like Kwity Paye and Kieran Crawford. On paper, that starting foursome strikes fear into any offensive line in the league. The real, desperate problem is the depth. If we lose one of those guys to a sprained ankle, our bench is practically non-existent. Spytek is going to need to keep a massive rotation active throughout the year, hiding guys even on the practice squad. A modern NFL pass rush isn't built with just 4 isolated guys. It's built with a constant avalanche. And our secondary? The eternal Achilles heel of Las Vegas. We brought Eric Stokes back and signed a total of 5 more defensive backs. The big internal bet at the facility is that Darian Porter takes a massive developmental leap this season. But honestly, let's be pragmatic. We don't need a Pro Bowl roster in the backfield. We desperately need reliable role players. We need a deep rotation of average to good cornerbacks. Facing Mahomes and Herbert twice a year demands fresh legs in the fourth quarter. Without that, we're going to keep giving up embarrassing comebacks late in the game. To wrap up this mix of desperation and hope, our offensive line. Last year was a traumatic nightmare for our quarterbacks. Now, with Tyler Linderbaum heading into his 5th year and young guys like Jackson Powers-Johnson and DJ Glaze officially stepping up, the picture looks a lot better. The new O-line coach, Rick Dennison, has raw talent to mold. However, the front office is already watching the clock and preparing for life after Colton Miller. They drafted Trey Zune, an absolute wild card who can play all 5 positions on the line, and brought in Spencer Burford specifically to plug holes in the reserves. You can't ignore the fact that games in our division are won in the dirty trenches. If the quarterback doesn't have 3 clean seconds in the pocket, all that receiving talent means absolutely nothing. The reality is that our starting unit of blockers is actually exciting, but our backups still give me chills if they have to step in as starters during a playoff push. Spytek'S mission is to ensure the second string is just as nasty as the starters. Summing up the madness, our GM cleaned up chronic locker room issues, made genius salary cap moves, and is building a solid foundation. But our roster depth is still a ticking time bomb waiting to go off in the trenches. Now is the moment of truth, and I want your raw, unfiltered take down below. Do you trust this strategy of extreme patience from the front office to build the bench little by little? Or do you think Spytek'S should have mortgaged our entire salary cap to build a 100% complete roster right now? Let me know in the comments.